I did that thing again where I don't unmute myself and I start talking. But what I was trying to say, it's very indicative of how tonight went for the Calgary Flames as well.
Great
Um,
start.
great start, right? I have a lot of feelings about that game. Um, it was horrible. It was horrendous. I have a lot of things that we want to talk about that we want to bring up, but the one that encapsulates it all is just I feel really sick to my stomach right now, and
Oh boy.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to fix that. But anyways, welcome to Game Over Calgary. Um, my name is Auddie James. I'm joined today. I got a good guest for you guys today. You guys got to be excited for this one. Twitch partner. You know him from all of his NHL 24 content. Now that NHL 24 is out, EA Design Council member. Welcome to the show, my pal Jesse, aka Thrash 94 Gaming, my friend. How you doing?
After that game, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
Not gonna
you don't
lie.
you don't feel pretty sick to your stomach. I'm sure it's quite the polar opposite for you.
That was a fun game to watch. I was a little nervous for the little guest spot here, and then I watched the game, and halfway through, I'm like, nah, you know what? This is gonna be fine. I'm gonna enjoy myself.
Buddy, you never have to be worried to come on my show. It's literally just a meme 24/7. There's a guy on here, Jay Money. I don't know if he's in here. He keeps track last year and the year before of my record when I host the show, and I think we are 1-3-0 now. I'm starting to try to keep track of my own games here. But there's this thing called the Auddie curse. They call it the Auddie curse because obviously I split it with Peter Klein. He does half, I do half. And whenever I host the show, the Flames lose. And lo and behold, tonight the Flames lose. And I think the Auddie curse might just be a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight,
Love it.
the Auddie curse is a real and true thing, and I'm sure people will get their screen caps of that and enjoy that one. But yeah, that was. I was texting my buddy James Johnson, who was on the show last time I hosted, and I was like, you know what, this is a game. The Calgary Flames are a hockey team. The players get paid to try to play hockey, and that was basically the extent of it. I don't have very many good things to say, so I'll swing it to you because one of the things I wanted to just kind of preface with before we get into talking about the game, my first note, if you look at my phone on my topics, was DeBrincat is fitting like a glove, and it just so happened that he also scores 3 tonight.
Yeah, 4 points in the game, and what an addition by Steve Yzerman to bring him in. Like, obviously, scored 41 in Chicago, and then had the down year in Ottawa, and everyone was like, can he get back to form? He's already, like, a third of the way to where he was in Ottawa last year.
Isn't that crazy?
So, unbelievable start for him in Detroit, and I believe it was Ken and Mick on the Red Wings broadcast, and they were saying that it was the first game that his son was in attendance to watch him play. He has a very young son.
He does.
And the first game at the LCA, and he gets a hat trick. That's interesting. Very interesting to have him have that happen. So what a great addition for that first line.
Yeah, no kidding. And him and Larkin both just like not only tonight, like obviously they've developed some chemistry very early on, and that's a good thing to see if you're in the Red Wings corner. But tonight for the Flames, the two of them were just lights out. Like they dominated. I'll say it. They were the Flames' daddies tonight. The two of them. They could not be stopped. And Larkin had himself a whale of a game too. Hey.
Yeah. I mean, he finally has somebody to play with. As weird as that might sound, right? Like,
yeah,
he came into the league. I think as a rookie, he had Zetterberg on his like as a center there. And learned a little bit from him, and then after that, it was not much.
No.
He's not had a lot of help, and you can see now that he has somebody who takes the pressure kind of off of him, right? You got the other team's defense playing the other player, and he just looks amazing out there. So
yeah, you didn't even really have to try that hard tonight against the Calgary Flames and that defense. It told the story on its own.
One positive I'm going to take away from the Flames here. They held Detroit to without a single power play goal tonight, which Detroit was number 1 in the league heading into the game on the power play. And I will say Detroit looked amazing on the power play, at least in the first couple chances there. But yeah, Calgary, they were fifth, I believe, heading into the game on the penalty kill. So I don't know if that went up after this game, but they looked pretty good there. But other than that, yeah, I'm surprised to not see Markstrom start in net.
Yeah, he started in Columbus, which was 2 nights ago. I know they wanted to get Vladar in, but that's a good segue into my first Flames topic of tonight, which is Dan Vladar. And I always like having people from other fan bases come in, get a more neutral kind of discussion going, because for me, it's like, yeah, I understand getting him in. You needed to do it. There was a time in the offseason where it made a whole lot of sense for the Calgary Flames to trade Dan Vladar for maybe some scoring power, maybe some depth in your forward group. There were teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning who suffered the Vasilevsky injury. Colorado was looking for a goalie. They picked up Prevestov, or however you pronounce it, from the Coyotes on waivers there. So there was a time where the market for Vladar was there, and they choose to hold. Not like there's a reigning AHL goaltender of the year waiting in your ranks in Dustin Wolf. Yep, but not the best I've seen Dan Vladar, and the fan base, of course, is being totally normal about this. I'm seeing tweets saying this is the last time that the Flames, you'll probably see Vladar. We'll probably never see him again, this, that, and the other. Look, it wasn't a great game, but I don't know if it's time to pull the chute right away. The market is what I'm trying to say is pretty thin right now for trying to move on from him.
I think you got to wait a little bit, see if there's more injuries around the league and whatnot, and then try and sneak him in. But I don't think he played absolutely terribly either. Like the shot from Larkin after the pass from DeBrincat there. Like, I don't know how many goalies are going to save that. That was perfectly placed.
No.
And DeBrincat on the rush there, another snipe there. And it's just, I feel for Vladar there, because at the time, like, I'm watching, and it just felt like the defense kind of left him out to dry once Calgary scored. And then Detroit scored one right back, and it was kind of like, all right, that's the game. Like, there's no hope.
Yeah.
And it kind of just felt like the team just, like, stopped even trying. So, I think you have to wait until maybe injuries happen or something else happens, and you got to maybe try and sauce them through there. But I don't think now is the time either.
No, definitely not. But, the way I look at it from Vladar tonight was it's a good thing you brought up the D. That's going to be one of the points we hit on next here for Calgary. But yeah, he was hung out to dry for the most part. I think pretty much every DeBrincat goal was is what it is. It's just a good shooter against a pretty good goalie, but the shooter wins in 3 of those situations there. There were a couple that I think he probably wants back. That tip by I can't remember, was it Veleno who tipped that one from?
Yeah,
from Sherratt. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. You can't pin that one on him.
It wouldn't matter what goalie was in net. A couple years ago we had, I'd say last year we had Magnus Hellberg in net, and it didn't matter what goal let in. Everyone was upset about it. It didn't matter what it was.
Right.
And even at that one, I don't think anyone could have been mad if he would have let that one in.
Yeah,
deflection. It is what it is.
It's tough. The third period there, obviously Wallman gets that one. That's one that probably Vladar wants back. He didn't look like he was set. It was a face-off win off the boards, and he fires one to an unready Vladar, which obviously that's one you want back. And then they didn't even finish announcing the Wallman goal before DeBrincat came down and did his thing off a really bad Jonathan Huberdeau ozone turnover, which led to the nail in the coffin 6-2 goal. But yeah, you can say what you want about how Dan Vladar was tonight. I can see the chat going off about guys like Nazem Kadri who've been non-existent. We're going to get there. We're going to talk a little bit about all of the Flames gripes, which is pretty much everyone who was on the ice tonight. But just a bit of housekeeping for the chat. If you are watching live, and and you haven't been here yet, we got a decent amount of viewers so far. If you haven't been on a Game Over stream yet, just so you know, we've changed it up a little bit this year. Instead of taking questions during the stream, we're going to make it similar to what Steve and the boys do on SDP, and we're going to just do a press conference at the end. So save your questions if you got them for me about the Flames, if you got them for Jesse about the Red Wings, or about Chell. We're going to touch on that as well. We have to sprinkle a little bit of Chell in there. Save those for the end, and we will answer them as best as we can. But yeah, save them until we call for press conference questions. Now, one of the things that you brought up about the Flames that I actually really want to park some time on, especially given the recent update from Elliot Friedman about one of these blue liners, is the defense for the Calgary Flames, and specifically Noah Hanifin, who, by golly, is just looks like he's doing cardio out there, and
it didn't look good tonight.
It was a bad game. He looked like that in the preseason. He's looked like that through the first 6 games so far. It just is not. It has not been good for Noah Hanifin. Blown assignments, just dogging it out there. Odd man rushes out the ass, and it was really, really noticeable. Did you see the same thing that I saw tonight? Is that kind of the way Hanifin was?
I did make a note, actually, about Hanifin. Just not looking, what's the word I want? Like sluggish almost in a way, right? Like
checked out. Could you say checked out? Like he doesn't want to be there?
Yeah, I kind of get that feeling where it's like, oh, there's a guy coming towards me with the puck. I could put my stick out and defend, but do I have to? It just kind of feels like he's standing in slow motion.
Very flat-footed and stagnant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's interesting because, like I said, I've noticed it all year. So I say all year as if it's been like 30 games. We're still 6 games into the season, right. But I've noticed it from the hop with Hanifin. Is it just looks like he doesn't want to be there. He's a pending UFA. And that would make sense. If he doesn't want to be there, he's pulling a DeBrincat like he did last year in Ottawa. Was just a little bit lazy, dogging it. Now he's got 8 goals or whatever the hell it is. But then we get the headline from Elliot Friedman last night on Hockey Night in Canada where he says the Flames and Noah Hanifin are close on an extension, which is right. That's kind of like, you don't even have to be a big Flames person to know that, like, if you watch tonight's game, it does not look like he wants to be there. But all of a sudden, Friedman is here reporting that perhaps it's close. I was talking to the one of the hosts of Game Over Edmonton at the intermission, and he said, "Hey, maybe it's a tactic from the agent to try to actually get a trade going. Maybe more teams are like, oh shit, he's almost locked up to a long-term deal. Maybe we pull the trigger and see if that trade is there now." But either way, just a terrible outing. And I don't want to single out Hanifin only because he was horrible, but the entire Flames blue line was just horrible.
Yeah, they got exposed. That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
I was expecting, so the thing is, Detroit played yesterday, and I kind of expected
another thing.
Back-to-back. Yeah, I expected a back-to-back with travel. You know what? Maybe they're not going to come out flying. Maybe it's going to be a slower game for them. And I think the first little bit, Calgary looked pretty good.
Yeah.
They looked all right. And then Detroit just kind of took over, and they exposed them. That first line, again, Larkin, DeBrincat together out there, they were just flying, and it did not look good for Calgary.
No, and that's a good segue into one other thing I wanted to talk about, just to not to pump the Red Wings tires too much, like obviously noted Red Wings fan over here, but like it's cool to see. Obviously, like Larkin has his guy now, DeBrincat, right? You go back and you talk about the Chicago Blackhawks and Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane, or Crosby and Malkin, or like, you go on and you find these good teams that find success and have their 1-2 punch. Not long ago in Calgary, we saw it with some guy named Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. But the Flames don't have that Larkin and DeBrincat. They don't have that Crosby and Malkin, right? There's nobody. You would think maybe Huberdeau, but it's been a rough transition out of Florida after that trade, and really, like, the points are there now, but everything else is kind of lackluster so far. Like, he's not great in his own end. He was the reason that DeBrincat gets that hat trick goal
Yeah.
with that really bad turnover in the offensive zone, which led to the breakout. And obviously DeBrincat wins the foot race against anybody on the Flames. But they just don't have that 1-2 punch like Detroit does.
It is wild hearing you say that because I haven't had a 1-2 punch in Detroit since Datsuk Zetterberg.
Right.
It's been a long time.
I'm genuinely happy for you. Like it's exciting, and the Red Wings are a fun team because of it.
I mean, it's still early in the season. It could still, come crashing down, but you look through like even the previous games other than tonight. At no point has Detroit looked like, oh, this is a game they escaped with the win. They should not have won this game. You can go back and maybe look at the Pittsburgh game where Pittsburgh really poured it on in the third, but Detroit still came away with the victory. And in periods of that game, they dominated, right? So I don't know what changed here, other than Yzerman is bringing in veterans that know what they're doing. But hey, I'm here for it. It's nice to see.
It's funny too, because like the consensus on you listen to, well, I gotta pump the tires. You listen to guys on SDP, you listen to guys on various different podcasts, and I'm not saying the SDP guys did, but like you just listen to these guys, and a lot of people were like, "Oh God, they gave Comfer this contract. Ooh, Justin Hall, that Ben Sherratt deal really not going to look great, right?" And then all of a sudden, you see the product on the ice, and you're like, "Holy shit!" Like the Red Wings are the Red Wings legit? They like it's early, but could they be?
It's possible. I'm still not 100% sold because Detroit last year started out 3-0-2. And, things came crashing down.
Well, now, the Flames were 5-1 at this point last year, so.
Yeah, so there you go. That being said, Justin Hall has been so much better than I was expecting.
Right.
Like, I read Twitter, right? And everyone on Twitter is like, oh, this is terrible. This is a bad move. Look at how bad Hall is. Look at this. Look at that. And, like, he's in unlimited role now. He's not playing over 20 minutes a night like he was in Toronto. And he's doing pretty solid. He had 3 points tonight. Like
3 points, and he's leading take what you will about plus minus, but he's leading the league in that category.
That is a wild stat. And yeah,
right?
Again, like I was talking about this on stream the other day about like I don't think Hall has been bad. I think he's been a pretty decent defenseman for what you're getting. And someone's like, "Oh, just wait till it happens. He's going to make a mistake." It's like everyone's going to make a mistake though. If somebody's going to make one mistake and it's like, I don't want this guy on my team anymore, you're not going to have anyone on your team.
It's just very amplified when you play for Toronto.
That's exactly what it is. And I do watch a lot of Leafs games because, like, I live in between Detroit and Toronto. So, like, they're always on TV. I'm going to put them on. And it always seems like they have one person. You know what I mean? It's always that one player. I think it was Jake Gardner in the past. It was
Dion at one point, Kessel at one point. Yeah. There's always the whipping boy, and Justin Hall, again, you talk about his role in Toronto compared to Detroit, playing way more minutes. He was leaned upon to be the guy when nobody else would be the guy for whatever reason. The media and the fans just put him on the pedestal and say, "You are the prodigal son, and you have to, carry this blue line into Norris land." But
did he make mistakes? Yes.
Everybody does.
It's going to happen. And you know what? Sometimes it's going to be amplified, and sometimes there's going to be things where you look at and you go, wow, that was a really bad play.
Yeah.
But so far in Detroit, that has yet to happen. I have not one time gone, you got to get him off the ice. Wow, what is he doing? So,
right.
So far, so good.
And that's a welcome surprise. You got to be happy about that, especially given what the backlash, not really backlash, but like coming into it, what everybody else was talking about.
Low expectations are being met.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Message to the chat. Anybody listening live, be sure to like the stream, share it on social media, get some more people in here. I see equal Flames and Red Wings banter going on in there right now. So that must mean that we've got a pretty good combination of the two. But yeah, be sure to like it. YouTube does its thing when you like the stream. It helps us out, and sharing it on your preferred social media, Twitter, X, whatever it's called now, or Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram. Do people still use MySpace, MSN Messenger, BBM? Yeah, get the word out there. Get the word out there.
Back, man.
I know, right? You really put yourself into that. Holy crap! I feel old when you say MSN Messenger or MySpace, and the kids are like, "Yeah, I have no idea what that is."
I recently learned that I'm older than Google, and that terrifies me.
That is, yeah. I remember
Yeah,
I remember putting out Steve. I can't remember what he was talking about online, or somebody put a clip of Steve from an LFR out, and it was the debut of LFR 17, and everybody was like, oh, when LFR debuted, this, and this, and Steve was like, thanks, I fucking hate this game. Like it's like Connor Bedard was one. YouTube had been like 2 years old. The best song on the charts was "Bad Day" by Daniel Powder. Like it was funny, but we love Steve, and we don't bite the hand that feeds on this show. So yeah, we'll start getting some questions in as we kind of just lead into our last segment before we get the presser in. So if you do have questions, be sure to get them in now. One of the things a lot of Flames fans talk about is the non-existence of Nazem Kadri since he's kind of come over from the Flames, or come over to the Flames from free agency. The non-existence of Huberdeau last year was very, very clear. The biggest drop-off in NHL history from points year after year. Elias Lindholm, who just hasn't quite looked the same since the departure of Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. That line was lethal, and all of a sudden,
he's out there on an island by himself.
Right. And this is a guy who wants $9.5 million.
Yeah.
Reportedly wants $9.5 million. He did not tell me his number. I don't think I would have a fighting chance of even getting a hold of that man. But the rumor is $9.5 million, and definitely not playing like a $9.5 million player right now.
I'm looking through like the stats for some players, and Lindholm's a point per game right now. I didn't even realize.
Maybe quietly, because I haven't realized it either.
Yeah, he's a point per game right now. I don't follow the Flames religiously. Don't get me wrong.
I don't blame you.
But I haven't heard anything about him. But
yeah,
he's a point per game right now, 6-6.
Yeah.
And then look at Kadri, who has 1 in 6 and is a -8, and that is
his line tonight. That Kadri-Dube and Huberdeau line was fucking abysmal. Abysmal. I wrote down, like, of all the things you talk about tonight, Auddie, it's got to be Huberdeau-Kadri-Dube, because they were just, like, Dube's been struggling to begin with. He has not been great, and he's taken a long time to kind of find out what kind of player he is in the NHL and what kind of role he serves. But my God, by now we got to have some kind of understanding of who you are and what you can bring. And the start of this, like even dating back to the preseason, leading up to this season and watching what he's done so far, it's been a rough go for 29. And I don't know how much longer the leash is. I know that a lot of people are saying, oh, Sam Bennett 2.0, and then you see Sam Bennett get traded and he does good things in Florida. Maybe it's a situational thing. I don't quite know, but it's that line as a whole tonight. Kadri, what, a -8? Is that what you said, or dash to start the year?
He was a -4.
Yeah, that's fucking bad. That's really, really bad.
I'm looking at Huberdeau right now. He was a -4 as well. Huberdeau was a -4 as well tonight.
Yeah.
Didn't even play 14 minutes.
Huberdeau didn't.
Yeah,
that's
less than 14 minutes. Only had 19 shifts.
Maybe he was. Maybe Ryan Huska stapled him down and said, "This can't keep fucking happening." Because it was.
Yeah, that's brutal. I'm just going. This is what the NHL.com says, anyways. So
yeah.
For all I know, But like looking through everything, like he didn't like him and Dube were both -4s. They both played less than 14 minutes.
Yeah, that's
brutal. And Kadri as well, actually, but he played 15.
Yeah, and you see that bad turnover tonight.
Yeah.
In leading to the DeBrincat goal. And I know you don't watch a whole lot of Flames, but from what I've seen this year, Huberdeau is looking better in his own end, but it's kind of sacrificial to how better in the offensive end, but kind of sacrificing that 200-foot game. Right, and some players just aren't, like, you can't just make people a 200-foot player. right?
No,
Alex
for sure,
Ovechkin
absolutely.
is never going to be a 200-foot player. He never has been,
Ovi
and he
ever
never
wins
will.
the Selkie, you know what? Hell is frozen over.
That's right. Hell is frozen over. EA made a good NHL game, and no, that was just a subtle jab, just to prime everybody who's going to probably inevitably ask questions about that. Hell is frozen over. The Flames have won multiple Stanley Cups, and so on and so on. But yeah, sometimes you just can't make a player into a player that you want them to be, and maybe that's what we're seeing here with Jonathan Huberdeau, but it hasn't been sexy to start.
I'm looking at his stats. Yeah, he's a -6 right now in the year, which like you can only look at plus minus so much, right? Like it is what it is. But at the same time, -6 in 6 games, that's not a good start at all.
Yeah, and that's a -4 tonight. I'm pretty sure, which is like that's just pretty.
It's a terrible game.
It's a hard hill to climb out of once you get into. Okay, before we get too far into the presser, we'll get some questions in. I'll start siphoning through and just kind of looking through the comments here. But before we get too far into it, we got to talk about Shell. We've talked about the game. Now we got to talk about the game about the game, and that is NHL 24. I will be completely honest. Okay. My unbiased opinion, because I only played the technical test. I've yet to actually pick up a copy of the game. So my experience, just based on what I played in the technical test, which I thought, full transparency, I don't play the game the way that you and everybody else who streams does, and consider me a more casual player. I thought the changes were good because it made me feel like I knew what I was doing a little bit more, and it felt different than years past. I get the game every year. I've been a loyal player for probably since you have and everybody else has. We've all been playing this game forever. I didn't mind it, but beyond technical test, I can't speak too much. The floor is yours to just kind of tell everybody your thoughts on the game and kind of how you're enjoying it.
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is that this is a year where if you want to try NHL and you've played previous years, it's going to feel different. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is up to you. Myself, personally, am enjoying the gameplay. I think the changes that have been made are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Are there bugs and glitches? Yes. Are there
always
fixes?
will be. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. But, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm enjoying the gameplay. I'm enjoying myself on the ice, and that's the most important part for me when playing a video game. Instead of having fun. We can talk about Hockey Ultimate Team and different rewards and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, if I'm not having fun, I don't care about the rewards. I just want to be having fun playing the game. A lot of people are on the opposite side of this, where they don't like the gameplay, the changes that have been made, and the only thing I'm going to say to those people are, we have begged for change for so long, and we finally get some change, and I don't want this change. Give me different changes than the changes you gave me. At the end of the day, there's new people making the game, new people running pretty much everything at this point in terms of like the development team and whatnot, and they have a different vision than the last people who were doing this. And you can see, like, it looks the same. Hockey looks like hockey. Weird, I know, but at the end of the day, like, they are actually changing things. Right now, some people don't like that you can do a Michigan pressing one button. I kind of agree with that because it is a little easy and people spam it, but whatever. But at the same time, it's fun, right? Is there anything more satisfying than scoring a Michigan on somebody? I don't think there is.
I tried at at nauseum to try to hit it anytime I play a lot of eShul with my buddies, and that's pretty much the only mode I play beyond trying to build teams in franchise mode and stuff.
Right.
Could not for the life of me hit a Michigan, and then I played the technical test, and I'm like, you just have to press a button. I mean, you still have to time it and all that, but a lot easier than the freaking, you gotta.
Yeah, it's not Mortal Kombat anymore. You're just trying to do a fatality pressing 13 buttons.
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah, exactly. But I will pick up a copy of the game. I've been so busy with wedding and now the hockey season underway and everything that it's just been, video games have been non-existent in my life for a little bit.
Fair enough.
But yeah, like I like how it seems as though they've brought, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, a little bit more like offline gameplay for Hut too, like with those challenges
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
moments, which is cool because I'm a huge MLB The Show guy, and moments are like I could sit here and play moments for hours on end in MLB The Show, and that was a really cool thing because I was a huge Hut guy in obviously like 14 and 15 and 16, and then obviously when everybody else started to notice what was going on in Hut is when I kind of stopped playing Hut and moving to Eashel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the offline component that they're kind of bringing into it as well.
You know, as someone who, not to like make myself sound incredible, I don't ever think that like I'm some top tier player at this game, but like playing offline has become very boring for me in the past.
Of course.
I win every offline game, 13-0, and it's like, what am I doing here? And that's why like I gear myself more towards the online gameplay. That being said, I am enjoying moments this year, and it does feel like they've made the AI a little bit smarter. Maybe not smarter, but like it is harder to score goals this year. It's harder to walk around the defenseman like in years past. So they've made it so that way when I'm doing a moment and I'm player locked to say Alex Ovechkin, I need to score a goal, I'm having fun doing that. It's not what it was in years past for challenges where it was like, finish the game, win the game by 4 goals, complete the
Have
game.
a +3 rating. Yeah.
Yeah, like now it's like get an assist off of a so you have to get an assist, take 3 shots with the player and win the game in overtime. That to me is awesome because that means, okay, well, now I need to make sure I'm doing things properly. I'm not just trying to spam goals. I'm not just trying to do things. And then I think that, I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of them for the legendary moments will have like an intro cutscene.
Yeah.
Like for the Gordie Howe hat trick one, it'll talk about the first ever Gordie Howe hat trick and have still shots from that game. And it's pretty cool. I love that idea. So
yeah, that's how you like. It's gonna sound tacky as hell, but like that's how you grow the game. That's how you convert casual NHL players into full-on NHL fans, or vice versa, right? Like, and that's why I think MLB The Show has done it so well too. Is just because their game almost year after year it's just so good. I play the living shit out of it, and it's nice to see too. Another thing before we get into the presser, I know I've been asking for questions for a while, but transparency between EA and the community seems a lot better now than it ever has been. They're very, very transparent about what's going on, what they're aware of, what they're trying to fix, and that probably has to do with the new leadership involved in the game. I would imagine.
Yeah, so I was flown out to Vancouver actually in August. I believe it was just after my birthday. So yeah, it would have been August, and we went out there, and I got to meet the new team and whatnot, and super good guys. Like, I believe one of the people working on the game right now actually worked on NHL 2K, which, if you guys wanted NHL 2K to come back, this is the closest thing you're going to get. Somebody who actually worked on that series trying to make changes to this game. But yeah, I mean, they were very transparent. Any question that you had for them, they had an answer, and it was all like, hey, why is this a certain way? And they're like, look, this is why this is done this way. And there are a lot of questions, and I actually have, not to like promote myself, but
no, do it.
I am going to do a video on some of the questions that were asked, and I can kind of hopefully bring out more of that transparency. But they are 100% posting more. And they put out a video talking about GM Connected, and people really want GM Connected back. So they're like, hey, you want it back? We're working on it. It'll be out there in the future. Like they are.
There's no more guessing. It's like they, and the best part too is them kind of understanding where the issues lie with some aspects of the game, and them being aware of it, and like, look, we understand your frustration. We're working on it. It's one game year after year. Just it's going to continually get better. And I think that with these guys at the helm, it's only going to get better and better.
Again, like I said, if you're looking for a game that feels different than previous NHL games, this is certainly it. However, if you're going to like the changes or dislike the changes, that's, it's 50-50 at this point. I've talked to some people who absolutely love the game, think it's the best one in years. I've also talked to some people who think it's the absolute worst game they've ever played. I'm more on the side of it being better than last year. Personally, I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. But at the end of the day, like, there is a 10-hour trial, and I encourage you, if you're not playing it, try it out before you buy it. Save your money.
Yeah, of course, because obviously you don't want to Games are too
Spend the
expensive.
money.
I remember back on PS2 when you could buy a game for like $25.
Yep.
They're like
Good old days.
$90. You buy 5 games and you pay for your PS5 or whatever console you're like
Literally.
everybody plays on. It's crazy. Or renting games. That used to be the shit
Oh,
too. Remember that?
We used to have very limited blockbusters here, but we had Rogers Video.
Dude,
around here.
that's I'm from Guelph.
Okay, so yeah, you know then.
I know all about the Rogers Video. Yeah, they were. It's where we would go there every Friday. We'd rent a couple games, buy some snacks, and then bring it back on Sunday night. But yeah, no, that was the good old days. And the kids that are watching that don't know, you're missing out. Those were the good days. Okay, let's get into the presser. I don't have a fancy button that like Steve and Jesse and Adam do that plays the Steve Dangle press conference jingle. But we'll read some from the chats. Okay, this one says, happy for Detroit and their future, worried for Calgary. I almost want the Flames to buy Kadri out at this point. That's steep. I think that's extreme right now. I'm just as frustrated as the next guy with how Kadri's been. But buying out, like, Christ, I don't even want to know what that buyout would look like. Cap Friendly has the tool.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Okay.
Now I'm curious.
Yeah, that buyout penalty would be fucking horrendous. Horrendous. This one, J Money says, Auddie is so old he remembers the 1989 Stanley Cup final vividly. I wasn't even alive in 1989. Thank you very much. 7 years later, would I grace the world with my presence in 1996?
All right, so you want to buy out Nazem Kadri?
Yeah, let's hear it.
You'll be paying him $1.93 million until 2034.
I'll be 38 years old in 2034. That's disgusting. Yeah, we're not buying out Kadri. It's just not happening.
That's brutal. That's really bad.
J Money saying Auddie is bad at Chell. Not wrong. Heritage Classic will be the pendulum game for the Flames and the Oilers. That's actually a really good point. The Oilers lose McDavid today for 1 to 2 weeks with an injury. Obviously, Anderson...
We didn't touch on Rasmus Anderson, I was going to say.
Yeah, we talked about it a bit last time after the CBJ game. But yeah, the 4-game suspension, we didn't know what the suspension was going to be last time I was on here. And 4 games is what the NHL comes up with, or the Department of Player Safety.
Yeah.
But Rasmus Anderson is actually appealing it.
I was going to say, I noticed that not too long ago. I seen that he was appealing it.
So, trivia question for you and everybody in the chat. Do you remember when the last time a 4-game suspension was handed out?
No.
It was April of 2022. I checked because I'm like, 4 games. You don't hear of it's 2 games, 3 games, 1 game. 4 games. The last time was Evgeny Malkin on Mark Borviesky, and it was a high stick, I believe. Let me double check. And I didn't get around to looking at it, but if I recall correctly, I think it was pretty egregious. Like it was not unintentional. Much like how Anderson's hit was definitely not unintentional. But 4 games for Anderson. He's going to appeal it. He's going to miss the Heritage Classic. It is what it is. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I don't think that hit was good at all, especially that late in the game.
Yeah, there was 2 seconds left.
Yeah, it was like the last fling down the ice before the buzzer went.
Yeah,
and
so it's completely unnecessary then.
Blindside, hit to the head, left his feet. I know there's Flames fans out there that are trying to justify it, but truthfully, like there's no justifying what happened there. That was atrocious. So they got it right with the suspension. 4 games. You know what? Maybe the NHL is trying to set a new precedent. Maybe. That could be it. And if that's the case, I could get behind it. They've been so wrong so many times in suspensions and fines that hey, if they're trying to set the standard early, that if you do shit like this, it's going to be 4 games. It's not going to be your typical 2 or 3. Maybe we see less of it, and if we see less of that, then the game's a safer game. So
got that right.
Let's see here. What happened to the Nylander talks? Time to bring the Calgary boy home. Yeah, I don't think the Leafs are going to be moving on from him right away.
He's looking pretty damn good.
Looks
too,
nasty.
So,
yeah, he looks pretty nasty. He's heading into. I'm pretty sure he's a UFA after the season.
He is. Yep.
Which is gonna suck if the Leafs the Flames fans know this all too well. Young UFA gonna have a career year. You can't trade him because you're in a playoff hunt, and that's just you shoot yourself in the foot that way. But if he walks in free agency, a la Johnny Gaudreau, then you're just all sad and depressed. So unless it comes with an extension, I also don't even want to know what the Flames would have to give up to bring.
Yeah,
I don't even know if the Flames have the assets to bring in William Nylander, to be honest. Here, you take our spare parts, and we'll take William Nylander.
Well, Noah Hanifin doesn't want to be there, so.
Yeah. You want someone to dog on the blue line even more? Noah Hanifin is your guy.
Noah Hanifin, the new Justin Hall, baby. Let's go.
Right.
Make it happen.
Justin Hall 2.0, except Hanifin's going to want like $7 million. Hello, Mr. James. What call-ups for the Wranglers do you want to see? That's from J Money. Dustin Wolf, 100%.
Yep.
I wouldn't be opposed to eventually seeing Jeremy Poirier at some point. The former St. John Sea Dog. Another francophone connection there with Jonathan Huberdeau. He's been okay. And Connor Zary, I think, at some point should get a look. Let's see here. Where else are we? Rasmus appealing for more games. Okay, that's gonna end the press conference before it gets too silly here. Yeah, that was a game, as we mentioned off the hop, which the Calgary Flames lost 6-2 to the all of a sudden red hot Detroit Red Wings. Thank you so much for being here. It was
Thank you for having me.
It was a blast to have you. The floor is yours. Obviously, people know who you are and what you're at, but use this time to plug what you're working on, where they can find you, and anything else you wanna tell the people.
Well, first off, thanks for bringing me over to the channel.
Of course.
Had a good time. And if you ever want to have me back on for another spanking from the Detroit Red Wings, I'm always happy to talk about it.
Thank God it's only twice a year for us.
You guys can find me anywhere on social media, including OnlyFans, at Thrash94Game.
Nice.
That's a joke, by the way.
Nice.
But there is an account with my name that had to be made because there was a troll making accounts from NHL community members. So, anywhere on the internet, you can find me, Thrash94Gaming. Pretty much all hockey-related content anywhere you see me, except for my second channel, which I'll be playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth when it comes out. I cannot wait for that.
Hell yeah. Go follow. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for being here. It was, as I mentioned, a blast. Okay, let's, before we go here, I better bring up the schedule and tell you who's doing your next game over for the Calgary Flames. I don't think it's me, but if I'm wrong, no, it is not. The Calgary Flames' next action is Tuesday, the 24th of October. That's this Tuesday, 2 days from now, against the New York Rangers. Peter Klein will have your game over show. That is I believe, 7:45 p.m. puck drop. I think Tuesday's the night when the NHL is doing all of those staggered start times to try to get like the entire league to play on the same night, which is going to be crazy. But yeah, this has been great. We'll see you guys on Tuesday, and hopefully Peter and you guys get a better result than I did tonight against the Detroit Red Wings. Stay safe, be kind to one another, and we will talk to you on the next Game Over Calgary. Adios.
Game